about that being the intro music.
I like it.
It's the elevator pitch for the PlayStation State of Play.
Yes.
Oh, man. Well, it looks like I'm recording.
Yeah, I did see that. Hold on a second.
Music. Music to my ears.
I mean, I could just always. Then with a little. But it
coffee mucho caliente.
Mucho caliente, but it cuts off too fast, so we're gonna have to figure out how to like ease it out, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I got the intro for you.
There we go.
Well, welcome to Brewing with Company.
I like that bit.
Yeah. It's the talk show / podcast, or whatever the hell you want to call it, where a couple of average Joes drink a cup of Joe, talk about pop culture and video games. And it's been more video games than anything the last few weeks because that news does not slow down.
No, it does not.
Oh good Lord.
Right. Well, I mean, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. I know I texted you as soon as it happened, and you were like, yeah, that sounds about right. With Assassin's Creed Shadows. What do you think, man?
Okay, personally.
Yeah.
Like just literally me personally. Mm-hmm. I'm happy about the delay. I don't think it's a good thing. It's not a good thing. If you know anything about distribution of video games, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, you know more about that stuff than I do. I thought it was going to be a good thing.
Still, I like it because now I can finally finish the 3 damn games that I haven't been able to finish until February. Because thankfully, February is stacked, but Assassin's Creed is really the only thing in February that I want to play. Well, okay, and Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yes. Me and a bunch of people I work with are all about to get Monster Hunter, and I think we're gonna have a nice fun time playing it.
Are you a big Monster Hunter fan?
I am not, but they hyped it up so much that I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
I'm not gonna. I've never played a single Monster Hunter game.
Neither.
The concept has never really grasped me. Mm-hmm. I know that it has a huge fan base.
Oh yes,
it's got a massive fan base, but it's just never really been my cup of tea. But Monster Hunter Wilds is the first one that I watched the trailer and was like, I might want to play this. Like, this looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I may join you on that call out of sick, call out of work sick. But no, Assassin's Creed. I'm very back and forth about this. I feel like if it wasn't Ubisoft, people wouldn't be losing their minds about it. Straight up.
Well, I mean, wait, do you want to talk about Ubisoft or do you want to talk about Assassin's Creed?
Actually, I've been meaning to tell you, I'm actually working on a video essay project on Ubisoft.
Okay.
Right now. More specifically, the only thing that I think they do well, which is world design, building maps. And
yeah, I could agree with that.
I'm working on. I was doing some recording earlier today. I want to start bringing video essays and stuff back to the channel, and what I really wanted to do on YouTube in the first place. So, but I really do think because it's Ubisoft, that is a huge factor. Mm-hmm. On top of, it's just it can't. It's not a good thing. Right. Star Wars Outlaws, regardless of how, people like you and I just like the bare minimum enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like the bare minimum of enjoyment. And I can grasp that. I totally understand that. As a video game, it's not a very good video game. I think I just enjoy, again, world building. The Star Wars worlds they built, awesome, super awesome. But everything else in between is kind of rusty and falling apart. But it caused the stock revenue of Ubisoft to go down 7%. They've lost an incredible amount of money on it because it was the largest marketing budget that they had used in their company's history. And it tanked. Really? Yep. Dang. Which is crazy because for
even
a Star Wars game.
Than Unity?
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and that could. Numbers are numbers, and inflation plays a big factor, right? We can only take the speculation of whatever articles we're reading or whatever, but yeah, it tanked. It caused a big issue. They really need Shadows to have a successful launch, bad, or we're going to start seeing the layoffs and all those things start happening. Damn well Ubisoft Toronto and Ubisoft Montreal are probably in trouble right now. in terms of manpower. But I don't know. I personally enjoy the delays for pure selfish reasons, but I definitely understand why it's not a good thing.
All right. Well, I mean, see me. Maybe I'm just. Maybe I'm just ready to get hurt again. Hey, I'm a 30-year Lions fan, so
You're telling
even
me,
though
bro,
we're
I'm a
doing really
Cowboys
good.
fan.
So
You
what?
don't even know. I said, you're telling me I'm a Cowboys fan,
Oh
bro.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
even
yeah.
know.
Even though we've been doing good for like the last couple of years, but I I just want Assassin's Creed Shadows, even with all of its controversy. I want it to be a success. Um, I love Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed, has done a lot for me. Especially now that I think back on some of the books that I was just recently rereading. Well, not recently. It was during our last deployment. But how much reading and like engaging in the Assassin's Creed universe has really inspired me into getting back further into some of my passions, which include storytelling and writing and whatnot. Um, I'm not gonna lie, like Assassin's Creed, Assassin's Creed Unity, Assassin's Creed, the Ezio trilogy, and Black Flag really got me interested in, that time that thinking more about like how people react to things in the historical realms of where they're placed in and whatnot, which I really hope Shadows does that for Japan, because like, my God, that would just be amazing. But I get why some people aren't very happy with the direction that they went with in some Shadows. I get it. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm an Assassin's Creed shill. Well, I'm not a shill, but what's the what do the kids say? I'm Assassin's Creed stan. I've been loyal since day one. So
Yeah, for real. And I feel like I've said it multiple times. I have a love-hate relationship with
right.
Ubisoft because of Assassin's Creed. I'm a fan of Far Cry, and Prince of Persia
Oh
was the game that
yes,
got me into
yes.
Assassin's Creed. But
You know what? That's right. Sorry. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Prince of Persia.
it is.
Sometimes I don't know why I forget sometimes that was. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, it's funny because Assassin's Creed is Prince of Persia.
Mm-hmm.
That stemmed from the Prince of Persia game that they were making
Yeah.
in 2003. Yeah,
Yeah.
like November of 2003 was when Sands of Time came out. So like right around that 2003 to 2006 era, they were talking about making a Prince of Persia game that then developed into freeform movement. They talked about the Holy Land, and then here we are. Now we have Assassin's Creed.
Right.
And I'm like you, man. I've been a diehard. I say since day two, because it's Assassin's Creed 2 was the game that got me into the franchise.
Same. But
A
I went
year
back and I still
later,
loved Assassin's Creed 1. So yeah.
absolutely, I'm going back and playing it now for that
Nice.
video I'm trying to make. And same with Assassin's Creed Unity. I'm on the. I'm sorry to those who are super tired of hearing this. It's the most underrated Assassin's Creed game in the entire franchise. I think it deserves more love, so we can go back to that idea of thinking. I don't think it's the greatest game ever made. I just think it was truly trying to advance the Assassin's Creed formula. Some for good, some for bad, but its lack of success is why we have this debacle that we have,
Which is why
delaying to February.
I want it to be successful. So I was of the mind that they really are going to repolish the game. They really are going to just make it as the best game that they possibly can, with what they've already shown us. Yeah, we're gonna hear some pushback. I know we are. And some of it might be warranted, some of it may not. But I know that barring something crazy, I'm at least going to enjoy playing the game. Now, just because I enjoy it, I also want to love it too. If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
no, you know what? I think similar to like Mirage, I
Yeah.
enjoyed Mirage quite a bit. I took it for what it was at a base level, which was trying to be a love letter to the original Assassin's Creed. And in a lot of ways it is, but it's
Mhm.
also not in a lot of ways. I think it's ironically a love letter to the original Assassin's Creed. It's ironically um, not giving the pieces of the original Assassin's Creed that made it so great. You know, the
Right.
free flow parkour, not they try to pretend it's in Mirage, but it's not. Um, you know, the old setting, beautiful map, by the way. Baghdad is phenomenally crafted. Again, the reason I am trying to make this video is because I think Ubisoft does one thing really, really, really well, and that is building these worlds. It's crazy how
And
good their
not
historians
just building the environment, but like making it um feel
lived in.
alive and lived
Dude,
in. Yeah.
you're writing my script. I'm telling you right now. You're reading it right now.
There you
It's
go.
exactly how it is. I think there is some good to the delay. That can be taught. You know, it's not good from an economic standpoint. It's not good for the company of Ubisoft, but as a
Yeah,
player,
A February release, I can't
and just the
imagine that's good.
delay when it was already about to go gold is, oh dude, it's not good. You know, we already had a firm date in November, and to be this close to November and be like, actually we can't do this. I
Another two
think,
and a half months, you're like, excuse me?
yeah, and well, look, gaming delays happen all the time,
Right.
and I feel like when it comes to something like Ubisoft or Assassin's Creed as a franchise, we see something like this where I agree it's not very good, but we got to stop pretending that this doesn't happen frequently. Maybe not in this manner, obviously, but
Mhm.
it happens all the time. Games are delayed constantly. I would rather a more polished product.
Yes.
I think, to be honest, I think Ubisoft should have delayed Star Wars.
You know, I was thinking about that. I was gonna ask you, do you think do you think what the reaction to Star Wars is at least some part of it? Some part of what's going on?
It's a
Or do
huge
you
part of
think
it.
yeah, or do you think okay, a huge part of it? Well, I was thinking maybe they didn't want to do it with the Ghost of Tsushima sequel so close.
No, I know that's like the rumor floating
Yeah.
around is that like, oh, they saw Ghost of Yote and they were like, ah, shit,
Yeah, right?
can't do it anymore. Um, I don't see. There's not a world where that would make any sense.
No.
Ghost of Yote, which we'll talk about more here in a minute.
Yeah.
On the next episode we're gonna talk about the state of play, but I don't foresee that being an issue because one, there's no way they knew that that was going to happen. Sucker Punch kept that really tight.
Right.
You know, there wasn't very very strong leaks of that trailer coming out, um, and which is weird, man, because I thought it was going to come out in Tokyo Game Show, which is happening right now. But hey, whatever. That they had their release window. It's really the earnings call that they did, the emergency staff meeting that they had,
Mhm.
talking about the Star Wars Outlaws. It was a huge loss for them, which actually is surprising. It's funny because they talk about the marketing budget for
Mhm.
Outlaws. I think that's what hurt it.
Think
I
so?
really, and here's the deal, right? I'm not speaking as a player, I'm speaking as a consumer. If you had showed people less of that game and left it up to mystery, Star Wars as a name probably would have sold
Would
that
have
game.
sold it, yeah.
I really do think so because a lot of the gameplay they showed coming up to launch is what really killed it. A lot of the pre-order and, well, not to mention the monetization crap that Ubisoft does
Yeah,
all the
I
time.
hate that.
This $120 gold edition, and by the way, you get a free new mission with Jabba the Hutt. Oh, like, dude, screw you, man. You should not paywall your game.
Right.
You shouldn't paywall your game. Either make it part of a DLC that I will pay for later down the road, or include it in your game.
Right.
Something AC Mirage got praised for was the monetization was only strictly cosmetics, and I can agree that that's a step in the right direction, but I think monetizing anything that you're putting in your game is kind of
It's
scummy.
yeah, it's
Super
coming.
scummy.
It is.
And I get it. There's tons of videos that you can look up on how the $70 asking price for video games is incredibly generous. And if you watch it in terms of inflation, how much these things cost and how much people need to get paid and how these companies spread their wealth the way that they do, absolutely correct. It is true. A $70 asking price really is, due to inflation, a very reasonable price to be paying for these games in terms of how they're made.
Yeah.
However, I still don't agree with the fact that every major CEO of these damn AAA gaming studios are pocketing a vast majority of the millions of dollars that come through these games. And Star Wars Outlaws, a huge reason of their loss of budget, is probably due to the 30% asking of Disney for the property name alone. It's part of the problem. And I think Disney needs to figure this out themselves, because I think, damn well Insomniac's doing one more Spider-Man game and they're probably done.
Yeah.
Because that $300 million, they only profited a very low profit margin off of that game that should have been massive.
Should have been crazy because I mean, how many did you said it was? 15 million?
I think they sold 15 million copies.
Jesus Christ.
But they only made about $25 per copy.
Which
These
aren't crazy.
Strict numbers, but
great profit. But like at the end of the day, like with as much money as they put into it, like you would expect a little bit more. But like to come back to your pocket as the developer. But like how much of it went to Disney? Marvel.
I think the rumor for most of these companies,
Sony, I guess, yeah.
For to Sony, shit, who knows? Sony always takes a bite, and then you have Disney taking like a 30% bite. You're only profiting out of $70, probably like $15 to $20 per purchase. And how many of these numbers are actually the deluxe edition or the gold edition or whatever the highest tier? Yeah, and the collector's edition only sells so much, and I'm not a big collector's edition guy. I really wish they would sell steelbooks and just that, because I would buy that in a heartbeat, because I'm a nerd for that shit. Although I just bought the Blasphemous 2 collector's edition because Blasphemous is becoming a super awesome franchise for me.
You want to know the last collector's edition game I bought?
Elden Ring?
No, I wish. God, I wish. No. Starfield.
Oh.
Yep.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead, laugh. Go ahead, laugh. I have not. Anything that you could say, I have not. I've said 10 times worse to myself.
Oh, dude, that sucks.
Look,
I will say it a million times. I've never played Starfield. I don't think it looks horrible.
It's not terrible. It's just not worth what it's.
Bill Spencer ruined it by calling it a game of a generation. It's not. It wasn't even close, dude. It was the fact that it wasn't. It was barely nominated for anything in 2023 for any of the game awards, which I get. 2023 was stacked, but
crazy.
Even if it came out this year, I don't think it would be a nominee for Game of the Year, dude. Yeah, I don't think it would. But no, for Shadows.
Yeah, oh, yeah, sorry.
Sorry. For Shadows getting delayed, it shows the struggle that Ubisoft is going through right now.
Yeah.
In terms of its profit, in terms of its issues. But
I have a question for you.
Send it.
Let's say that let's give the best case. Well, not the best case scenario, but let's give the most realistic scenario. Right now, as current situations are, let's say the current situations maintained for Ubisoft, and Assassin's Creed Shadows is, forgive me, a meh game, or
what do you think the future, as the kids say.
So yeah, what do you think is the future of Ubisoft? Do you think it's going to continue with this franchise?
With Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I feel like people constantly forget how massive that franchise is, dude.
Well, but I'm saying like when will it be too much? When will it be?
Oh, it was too much 10 years ago. But
yeah, when will people be like? I mean, because think about it. When's the last time you ever thought? Well, go back 15, 20 years ago, and I will tell, and I tell you, hey, did you guess what? The Marvel and the Star Wars fan base are going to be pretty meh to the new projects that are coming out whether that's video games or movies and TV shows and stuff, you'd be like, are you high? Like, what are you talking about? You know?
I for Ubisoft specifically, to answer that part of your question,
Yeah.
if Assassin's Creed Shadows doesn't do well, which to be honest, dude, it's gonna do well. The franchise is so freaking popular, and I feel like people forget how crazy popular it is. To include guys like you and me who don't even like the franchise anymore, keep buying the damn game because we fell in love with the original so much. The lore and the complicated nature that Assassin's Creed brought to the table
I gotta know what happens
so
next.
good.
I gotta know what
exactly.
happens next.
It doesn't matter how shitty it is. For some reason, you've done your job in sucking me in, and I'm smarter than this as a consumer with every other franchise, with every other property. But for some reason with Assassin's Creed, I will literally, it's like Star Wars, dude.
Yeah.
I bought Outlaws knowing full well I was like, this is not going to be very good. And I played it and I was like, I enjoyed it and it sucked.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't very great, but I enjoyed, like you said, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd ever play it again.
Could have lived without it 100%. But it for Ubisoft as a whole, where it would go if Shadows doesn't do well, I think they lean heavily back into Tom Clancy, which they're leaning heavily back into Splinter Cell with that new animated series on Netflix and all that kind of stuff going on. So, which I actually don't think is a bad thing. I think getting back into Splinter Cell could do some wonders. We're due for a Splinter Cell walking through tall grass. I don't think they'll ever abandon Assassin's Creed as a property. But if they had to lean into another franchise, they would be like Rainbow Six. That saved Ubisoft during the 2010s. And then maybe
Far Cry.
They got some, maybe. It depends. The backlash they got for their idea for Far Cry 7, which I thought was a great idea. Who knows? But I think they'll really lean into Prince of Persia again because
I hope they do. I would.
Sands of Time didn't do the greatest, but it sparked enough interest that I think that they're gonna take a stab at it again. And the roguelite Prince of Persia that they made on Steam is made by the same guys that did Dead Cells. They saw some decent success. So in terms of Ubisoft as a company, I think if Shadows does bad, you're going to see the layoffs. That's just the common practice nowadays. CEOs aren't going to step down. Nobody's going to take responsibility and spread their wealth.
Not. They'll take it out on all the people who did what they asked.
People that do incredible job making these worlds. I think Japan, regardless of how this game does, is going to be wonderful to go through, especially with the whole season change thing and everything that's happening. So
and the oranges.
Yeah, but in terms of that's Ubisoft as a company. Now, in your second question, if you went back in time and told me that Marvel and Disney were not doing too hot, I would I would agree. The younger version of me, I mean, we're talking like 9-year-old me, would be like, what? No, Marvel's the greatest and blah 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 blah. But seeing it now, it doesn't disappoint me because I'm seeing a massive insurgence of great indie games. Like indie games are starting to take over. I'm seeing, look at Black Myth Wukong, dude. That is a prime example of giving opportunity to just play what people love. It had a ton of controversy and they were still like, don't give a shit. This is our game. If you love it, you love it. And it sold like 14 million copies, dude. Like it's still selling, still doing great, and I'm still enjoying playing it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta get back into it.
It just adheres to what it needs to be. And so I do think Ubisoft as a major company will start to fall. You'll see some closures. I really hope, in terms of Assassin's Creed, let Ubisoft Bordeaux, the guys that made Assassin's Creed Mirage, let them cook. Let them cook.
I would love a 30 to 40 hour or maybe 30 to 50 hour storyline that they can really flesh out. I mean, you can even go back to Japan too. I don't care. Like,
what I would love to see, like perfect world in Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed Russia.
Soviet Russia. Everything is true.
Everything is
You will believe
permitted.
us. Everything is permitted. Nothing's permitted. Everything's true. Believe me, everything. Um, no, I would say in a perfect world, if you let Ubisoft Bordeaux truly take a AAA budget and write a love letter to the original style of Assassin's Creed, they would go make it the original way. And you create and develop a story where you have Shay Cormac, Arno Dorian, and Connor Kenway all in the same story, and even that French girl, Desolé, what's her name?
I don't remember her name.
AC Liberty.
From Liberty? I don't remember. I actually never played Liberty.
It's okay. I actually think it has some pretty cool mechanics, but forgot her name. But you could
Wait,
literally have
they would be a little too old at the time, wouldn't they?
They're all four alive at the same time.
Wouldn't Shay be older though?
Yeah, but who cares?
Okay, yeah, true.
Have him be the antagonist because Arno would still seek revenge for the death of his father. You have Connor, who is still building the Brotherhood in America, and he can link with Arno because all of the major assassins and the master assassins keep in contact with each other. You have a unique opportunity. There's a YouTube channel called Master Assassin. He does a video where he creates this story. Dude, I've been on board since I've watched it. I'm like, dude, somebody make this right now. And after playing Assassin's Creed Mirage and seeing the passion behind it, but the limitations that created that game, let Ubisoft Bordeaux make it. And I think you have something.
Master Assassin. Oh, I'm subscribed to him. I just haven't really watched a lot of his stuff.
Yeah, it's like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago or whatever, he makes he presents an idea about that exact story, having all four of those protagonists and antagonists together in one unique story. He talks about making two maps, one in the Americas and one in Eastern Europe. And dude, great idea that I think I would, if I want to see Assassin's Creed's biggest freaking problem, it always has, is it never gives sequels to the characters that deserve them the most.
Yeah.
Dude,
I thought, except for Ezio. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
I think
that's one of the reasons why Ezio was so beloved, is because we saw his whole story. It was amazing.
From birth to death.
Yeah.
We saw every bit of it. And I think Edward was another missed opportunity. Connor, I don't think I praised the idea of a Connor sequel.
Yeah, no, Edward was a big missed opportunity because I'm like, don't get me wrong, I love Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but like I didn't really like the fact that Edward's like mannerisms or like his goal didn't change from just wanting to be rich for like 70 to 90% of the game. Like he was just like, I'm just after the observatory and this and that, the other thing, and I'm just like, bro, like, it's bigger than you at this point. Come on, man. Like you wanna, like, let's get onto being the assassin in the story. But like, I would love to have seen his later years.
Yeah, like especially how he gets into mainlands of Europe and the UK and stuff like that.
He goes back to England
when he has his son. When we get Hatham.
Yeah, did you read that book? I think I gave you that book.
It's fantastic. I was just about to bring it up. The book is great because it shows it's a prequel to Black Flag, and it shows him in Wales and how he's, on the farmland with his parents, and it gives great perspective into character building on Edward Kenway, which makes in turn Assassin's Creed 4 a better game when you play it after reading that book.
Yes.
And I would say, again, Assassin's Creed's biggest problem, it doesn't go back to, like, I had a big issue with Assassin's Creed Origins when it was announced. This whole reimagining of the franchise thing.
Yeah.
I was like, damn it, here we go again. Another game sucked into, the wrong direction. And then I played Origins and was like, you know what? We're on to something here. There's a compromise here that I could live with. Another sequel opportunity that was drastically missed. Bayek in Rome building the Brotherhood. We could have had a sequel where social stealth is being learned because he's now developing it. He's developing the Brotherhood. He's making the Creed as he goes. We could start to see the development of the Creed, and it could have been a great idea. And I love Bayek as a character. Love Bayek.
That would be so cool. Oh my god, I never thought about that before. Sorry, dude, I didn't mean to interrupt you right there.
No,
but like, I I would read the hell out of that book.
Dude, Abubakar Salim is also a phenomenal voice actor.
Yeah.
I think you could have not only given this dude some good work to continue his, the lineage of that character, but you would have seen the Creed build over time. You would have seen how the Creed became what eventually is the ongoing controversial fight between the Assassins and the Templars. You could have seen it start as its innocence, as we wanted it to be, the revenge story that it was in Origins, which, has its flaws, but I overall enjoyed and liked. And you could have seen it build. And I feel like people forget that sequels make your originals better if written properly and done well.
Yes.
You adapt. There's a reason Brotherhood makes AC2 super good, because Brotherhood is the peak of Ezio and his story as a master assassin. Peak.
I just recently replayed Assassin's Creed 2. Loved every second of it. It was amazing.
Yeah, dude, it's fantastic. If you had to choose the internal story of Assassin's Creed Shadows, because right now the characters they don't mean shit to me. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Yahweh or whatever. What's her name?
Nawe and Yasuke. Yeah.
Yahweh or the highway. Yahweh and Yasuke. I didn't care about the controversy. We've already talked about that. Like, whatever. Right. It could be, it could not be. The woke shit is getting annoying, regardless of what side of the coin you're on.
I feel you.
Same with the whole Ghost of Yote thing.
Yeah.
Where would you want the story to include assassins? Because that's my biggest concern, is that it's not an Assassin's Creed story.
Yeah. I mean, depending on what I know for the story so far, I mean, I would hope that the two of them, discover the assassins together and are either like thrown into like a mission where they have to, survive, and they'll obviously be on the assassin side. But then they're like kind of like thrown like, what's the word? Like without any explanation or something like that, and then just basically everything's like expecting. What's the word? Like they just have a lot of expectations upon them, and I don't know. They have to just kind of figure things out as they go along. But then, obviously, how I would do it, I would traumatize the hero in some way, or either motivate them or traumatize them personally, or motivate them through witnessing a horrendous act of the antagonist, to get them solidly on the side of working for the greater good. Now, me personally, I do love George R. R. Martin for all of his more recent annoying things that he said. But one of the things I love about what he said back in the day was that he loves to write the human heart at conflict with itself. So something that the protagonists, whether it be Nae or Yasuke, something that they want, or something that they identify as, like, as I'm the best, or something like that, or I'm a fighter, or I'm such and such, and either take it away or flip it on them, and just to see how they react to it, and how they either overcome it or how they may not overcome it, and how they could fall, and how someone else could help them, something like that. That's one of the things I absolutely love, because that's something there's a lot of that has happened to me in my life, and I think it's a good way to explain how bad things can continuously happen in a story, because I mean, obviously a story has to have some sort of conflict, and if everything's so, what's the word, happy-go-lucky all the time, it kind of gets like, all right, like what am I here for? I'm here for conflicts, whether people love to or want to admit it or not. We go into entertainment looking for conflict, but also conflict resolution. So if everything's so perfect and utopian and all that stuff, there's no real reason to be sitting here sitting here reading it or experience it or whatever. So how I would write it, I would take something away from either or, and I would, since there's two of them, I'd take something personal away from one, and I would traumatize the other, and have either some way their stories interconnect, and then yeah, and then I would what am I trying to say here? I would have the cause go along. I would have the cause recruit them in that way. There you go.
There you go. Hey, I hope you just wrote The Last of Us Part 2.
You son of a bitch, I did.
Everything you just said was The Last of Us Part 2. Which is funny, because if anybody listens to it and spent the last 10 minutes listening to that and enjoyed that, you better not hate us, The Last of Us Part 2, because that's exactly how it goes down.
Hey, it was good storytelling. Hey,
I think that's beautifully written. No, I think, and as long as, because those tropes are in Assassin's Creed games, you also pretty much wrote AC2, minus the dual protagonists or the dual storytelling in that nature. But the AC2 is the same way. He goes through trauma via the loss of his family, and then he gets his lifestyle taken away from him because his family's not royalty, but they live in a higher power within the city of Firenze. And I think these are things that are basic storytelling that can be fleshed out so much more, especially in the way you just said, the taking away, the traumatizing the conflict to the resolution of that conflict that may not always be what the protagonist wants it to be. All this fits, and I agree with every single ounce of it, as long as the brotherhood is present.
Yes.
That is my biggest key. This is the first time an Assassin's Creed game in almost 10 years takes place in a time period during the Brotherhood of Assassins. This isn't the Order of Ancients. This isn't like the hooded ones.
Yeah.
This is the Brotherhood of Assassins. So as long as we get that, and I don't want Yasuke to become a assassin, by the way, unless, I guess, hear me out, unless you spend the game as Yasuke, as the quote unquote samurai. He's the brute, right?
Yeah.
And the ending of him becoming an assassin to change his ways, because I don't like the idea of a samurai being an assassin. Their ideologies conflict each other drastically.
Correct.
Samurais have this notion of honor. You will face your attacker. Stealth is for cowards. You'll die a dishonorable death if you stab somebody in the back. You must fight your way. They're warriors. They're very much about facing conflict head on and being the brute. They want to be samurais, whereas assassins shy their blade from the blood of the innocent. They remain in the shadows. They do not contradict the creed. That's the whole point. They very much contradict each other. So that was part of my issue with the whole Valhalla thing, where Eivor, he's not an assassin, which bugged me, because I want to play as a freaking assassin
in Assassin's Creed.
Or a hooded one, for that matter. Take your pick. As long as it's a part of the lore, I'd like to be a part of it. So in the very opening of the game, in the first 3 hours, when he's talking to Basim's little protege, I forget the dude's name, and he basically gives a long-winded speech as to why he likes being a Viking, and how it doesn't matter if he's carrying the hidden blade, and that he shares some overall goals of the assassins. He's not going to become one because he thinks the assassins don't take trophy in their victories. And then that's it. That's the explanation, and you don't become an assassin at all throughout the game, and you don't change your ways. Stealth is very niche. It's a mechanic that is in the game because Assassin's Creed is on the title, but it's not an Assassin's Creed game, in my opinion. People loved it, fine, fair, but it's a better Viking simulator than it is Creed game.
100%. I was literally about to say exactly that. Yeah. I don't know. Do we know who at least one of the Japanese master assassins were around this time? No, not at all.
No, we do. I think he's in the Hall of Assassins in Assassin's Creed 2.
Is he?
In the in Monterrejoni.
Okay.
down in the tomb, the assassin's tomb.
Yeah.
I think there's a
When you go,
Japanese.
there's a Japanese one. Interesting. I wouldn't remember his name, but I do remember picking up each of the seals and returning it there.
I'd have to do some extensive research into. I mean, there definitely is. If you Google it, we'll find one. But it's just a matter of how they take place and make sure it's not like a fandom page or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. No, that would be interesting. I don't know. I mean, how would that person? How would he? Recruit them, or at least now.
No.
Naue?
Yeah, Naue.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right at all, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
No, there is. Oh gosh, I need to remember the name, dude. I'm gonna have to look it up after we're done. But there
It's
is
all good.
one of the guys, in the transcripts from Subject 17 in AC2.
Yeah,
They mention somebody during this is the Ming Dynasty, right?
Is this? They do mention somebody. I don't remember that.
Yes, and it's on the guard that's in the trailers. He's in AC Shadows.
Yeah,
I'd have to look it up. It's not being said in this podcast.
We'll find it for you.
But in terms of Assassin's Creed, I'm gonna keep buying this stupid game.
I'll buy it. I'll buy it, and I'll at least I'll enjoy it to, at least like
to a degree.
Yeah, at least maybe a 6 out of 10. I don't know. We'll see.
I'll take 6 out of 10.
Yeah,
it's about what Outlaws was, and I don't praise that game, but I give it more credit than it's probably due. So,
so that is me on Assassin's Creed.
That is me under Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
we're tag teaming it,
naughty,
top to bottom. But if that's you, and if that's me, then this is Brewing with Company.
It's been Brewing with Company. Stay caffeinated.
Love it.